What's up, you guys? Welcome to The Imagination. I'm your host, Emma, and today I am so honored to have back on the show once again ritual abuse, mind control, and organized abuse survivor and overcomer, TikTok whistleblower and content creator, inspiration, Ramkoa educator, warrioress of redemption, and someone I am so honored to call a dear friend, Charlotte. A little bit about Charlotte, if you guys missed her first two episodes, if you're new here, or if you just need a little refresher before going into this incredible part 3. Born on December 28th, 1987, into a world that seemed determined to break her voice before she could even breathe, Charlotte entered life prematurely, fighting for survival in an incubator. What appeared to be a medical crisis was, she later discovered, the first calculated fracture in a bloodline engineered for generations to shatter children. Her mother's side wove a dark tapestry of high-ranking Navy officers, 33rd degree Freemasons, Shriners, and the invitation-only depravity of the Royal Order of the Jesters. Her father's lineage carried its own shadows. A Princeton-recruited genius funneled into classified Department of Energy work and the secretive mega corporation Bechtel. Fuck you, Bechtel.
Fuck you, Bechtel. Yeah. Yeah. We're coming for you. And I mean that.
We mean it. Bechtel, whose global projects masked deeper corridors of power and pain. The trafficking routes that claimed Charlotte's childhood stretched between California's caves in Benicia and Florida's hidden poles, twin anchors of a nightmare no child should ever endure. From her earliest days, Charlotte was marked, gifted with a brilliant, intuitive mind that placed her in gifted education programs. She was simultaneously trafficked, ritually abused, and programmed at home and in organized operations. Extensions of programs like Project Monarch and Center Lane sought to weaponize her gifts, but they could not contain a soul forged for something greater. Then, over just a decade ago, the memories returned, not as destruction, but as a second birth. What crashed over her was the full, fierce recognition of what she had survived. And in that moment, Charlotte chose. She chose to stand whole. Not because the abuse made her strong, but because she refused to let the fractures define her. She began the painstaking work of healing, recovery, and integration. She looked the programming in the eye and rewrote it. Today, Charlotte is a radiant force. She names the names: Bechtel, the Jesters, the networks that believe themselves untouchable, and declares with fierce compassion, "We're coming for you." She speaks for the children still in the caves, for the little girl who once lay in that incubator, wondering why the world already hurt so much, and for every fractured soul who was told they were weak when they were simply born into a war no child should fight. But Charlotte's story is not one of survival. It's a triumph of the human spirit. She is living proof that bloodline curses can be shattered, that programming can be rewritten into freedom, and that the deepest wounds can heal into unbreakable wings. She's not a victim in any soft, palatable sense. She's a frickin' reckoning. Furious, radiant, taking her power back and done hiding. In her, the weapon they honed has been turned back against them. Charlotte's life whispers the eternal truth. The captors do not win. The light always rises. She has broken the cycle not just for herself, but for generations to come. She has turned her pain into a beacon that guides others home to their own power. She has shown the world that even the most calculated darkness cannot eclipse a soul that chooses redemption. In a world that tried to silence her, Charlotte sings. In a lineage that tried to shame her, she shines. She's not merely a survivor, she's a revolution in human form. A living testament that no matter how deep the fracture, the soul can heal into something unbreakable, radiant, and free. Charlotte, the world is better because you refuse to stay broken. Thank you for leading the way. The light you carry is changing everything. And you, dear survivors listening, you carry that same light. Let it burn. The reckoning has begun, and it is beautiful. So you guys, without further ado, please help me in welcoming back today's guest of honor, voice for the voiceless, walking miracle, overcomer and thriver, survivor and anti-child abuse advocate, and an incredible woman who is using social media and her voice to shine a light on the darkness and to set the captives free. The one, the only, Charlotte! Charlotte, I'm so happy to have you here. You're so sweet.
Oh, I needed that so bad.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too, and it's so fucking hard. You know, I mean, the only way out is through, and like, we no longer are alone.
Yes.
You know, we have people like you. And just like being reminded of that purpose that you talk about of helping others who are still either currently in it or dealing with the after effects of it and trapped in that. We were talking about this before, just absolute none of the blessings in life that you should, we're born to have. We have a right to these blessings, and so many survivors get none of them. And then you just saying such beautiful things about me, and then when you put something about like singing, like the taking my voice back and the singing, like, we're gonna show some pictures here, but we were, presented on stages to people, not just rich people, but rich people, and auctioned off, and we were shown our singing abilities. One of our altars, Lolita, she is really good. I suck at singing. She's really good, and it's just, so we're trying to integrate and reclaim the singing and the voice, and it's just, and we were talking about how not a close friend of mine, but I have friends who are really close with her. She was murdered by her abusers for starting to speak up, and making connections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have a lot of emotions, and it's good. So thank you for giving me some hope and reminding of my purpose, because there are so many times that like I just want it to stop the pain. So, but I don't want to die, for the record. Like, I really don't. Like, I want to stop hurting, and I know there's suicide programming inside, but thankfully I have enough. I mean, knock on wood, I'm doing what I can and aware enough of certain things that come up, and I think it's me, like just depression or something like that, or just random suicidal ideation, but it's actually an altar, a program going off, and trying to be able to cope through that. And some people never access that, and I'm very heartbroken for them. And I have a lot of hope that that'll be less and less of people's stories. If survivors are able to connect, I'm able to speak, use my voice for whatever reason. I'm still here for a myriad of reasons. And yeah, I want survivors to know, even if you never go public with your story, like if you're here, like, damn, that's amazing. You existing is recovering loudly. So I just want to, and that's another reason I'm alive, is I'm like pissed these days. I'm actually in touch with my rage at them. It used to be toward myself, and now I'm just like, fuck you. You want me to die, don't you? Although they're also fucking like, they also get off on the fact that survivors are struggling today. Like after effects, they sit and get to be like, yay, Charlotte's, like, literally they sit there and get hard off this shit, and take pleasure. And that gives them a jolt for the day to their purpose. So that's part of the reason I'm alive. And also they're placing bets on survivors. Because I used to think like, I mean, it's always many, many reasons. But one of the things, like, they put a lot of when a system is programmed, right? Like a lot of other people were, so intentionally groomed to have alters and to do specific things. They're constantly trying to perfect these tools, right? And they're perfecting them in a lot of ways. There's a lot of similarities between all sorts of abuser groups with different types of programming, and certain groups are like tweaking it more. So, and then they get to sell that to other groups. And so like part of the reason I'm still alive is because I'm data. It's not just not just that I'm strong, not just that, you know, God, a loving higher power has helped me through, angels, like those things are a big deal too. But they sell it, they're collecting data to be like, oh, okay, well, Charlotte started remembering at this day and that day, you know, and then people are placing bets with big money off of it, of like, I bet she's gonna remember this, you know, this one's gonna remember that. Like we're racehorses to people too. Like it's and how do I know that? Don't right now I don't have a perfect answer for you, but there's a lot of reasons. Pattern recognition is a huge one, and what they're doing today with the war and the stock market and stuff like that, and like people like betting on tariffs like falling through and weird shit like that. Like they bet on the destruction, so of course they're betting on us, you know, and selling. It's disgusting. So they sell us for sex, they sell us for or rape, you know, they sell us for data. It's just disgusting. And thank you for giving me hope, because it could get so overwhelming, to say the least, right?
Well, and you're doing the same. I think it's so refreshing to see, and for other people to just see emotions, that it's okay to show up when you don't feel good. It's okay to show up when you're not feeling perfect. The important thing is that you just show up, even if it's just one little inch that you're moving forward a day. That's still progress, you know,
Yes.
and you're such living proof of that in so many ways. But I love that, you know, even with podcasting and doing all these videos that you're constantly doing on TikTok, like you say, like, I'm not feeling the greatest today. Like you let people know, like, hey, you're not alone. Like, I don't feel good either, but like, I'm just going to show up and do something because it makes me feel better. And hopefully I can inspire some of you and let you guys know that you're not alone and that it's okay to struggle. Cause I feel, especially on social media, people only show up when they're perfect. You see all these picture perfect girls with their makeup done. They're in these extravagant, you know, outfits and places. And for survivors, that can be like so triggering to go online and be like, I'm literally the only one struggling. Everybody seems to be having a great time in life and they're doing well. And like, I'm not. And so I just think you know, I know you had told me before, like, you haven't been feeling 100%, but you're like, I'm going to do this podcast anyways and come on here because I know it's important for other people. And so I think you give people hope for everything that you do and for being able to show up authentically, whether you feel good or feel like it or not, and being able to just be so raw and just yourself with people. It's so refreshing.
Thank you for affirming that, because I was looking at some survivors that look all together and are so gorgeous and all these things, and I'm just like, roll up. And I had a plan to like put on my falsies and like look hella cute and like have this cute shirt, and
You're
I'm just
so
like,
pretty.
I'm gonna thank you. I feel like an ugly troll, but let's not, nobody, please, nobody comment on that. Let's just, but like, you know what,
You're
like,
beautiful. You're so
I love
beautiful
you,
inside
and
to out.
you're blind, but I love you. But no, exactly what you mean though. Like, I'll often not want to do TikToks because I'm not all done up, and when I'm done up, I'll get more views. Like it is a
Really?
real thing. Yeah, especially if I have my boobs out. That is a real thing. Like, I mean, not all the way, obviously, but like
Sure. But yeah.
there are, I mean, it makes sense, but if you're put together, you get more interaction. Like that's just the fact. At least with my content, that's how it is. I see it with a lot. Not everyone though. But then I realized you're never going to make content right now because you're struggling so much right now. Like we were just talking before, I barely slept this whole last week. I always have an issue with insomnia, but it, like, you know, ebbs and flows, and it's a really bad ebb or whatever. And I mean, it's ritual abuse season, and everything that's happening in the world right now, they're up in the rituals. Like they're up in, you know, because like so many evil people are in power, they're able, and then CERN shit that we can get into another time. Like the energies are being so manipulated right now. And so like so it's not just the fact that I'm triggered to past like ritual abuse states or programming dates or in-home organic like stuff, you know. So because I was hurt every day, but different, you know, levels of abuse. But where was it going? All the energies. Oh, so it's not just being triggered to the past, it's everything that's currently going on right now with the energies. And then there was a full moon the day before Good Friday, and Good Friday is one of my big trigger dates. I was, you know, Easter is fine for me. A lot of survivors, Easter is just a huge trigger date. But mine is Good Fridays, though. When I'm out of that, I'm a lot better. Like, I'm still really tired and all that. And then, like, during Christmas time, yeah, Christmas is hard, but it's the 21st. That's a harder date for me. So, I guess I'm just saying that partially is that if your abuse dates don't line up with certain things people think it has to be. Oh, hi, floofy little one. Hi. Anyways, cutest precious. Like, there's just so much to it and so many different factors. And I don't mean to overwhelm people, but just it's complicated and complex. And so no wonder I'm going to show up like this sometimes. Like, I'm going to show up like worse than this, like sometimes. And it's starting, and this is a sign of healing for me in a lot of ways. And also the fact that, like, because most of my life it was like, you know, all put together and stuff like that, or just hiding, in general, just hiding away. But then there was also times where it was chaotic crying, which is like, so it was non-processing crying is what I mean. Just a complete overwhelm of the system, to make me look crazy in a lot of ways and make me look just like over dramatic and stuff. I mean, even now when I'm grieving, I can look these ways, but I'm actually like processing more. So it's not just more chaos, even it feels like it's hard to describe. There's so many like nuanced things, but it's, I guess I'm just saying it because the more clarity that comes, more healing. And that's been a blessing as well.
Oh gosh, for sure. You know, and I think the one thing that we forget connects all of us is hardship and trauma. You know, if anybody, whether you've been ritually abused or if you just had some, it's okay, buddy.
Oh my word, baby.
Kitty, you just interrupted me, buddy. Anyways, that was rude.
He's got so rude.
But
maybe
regardless
he sees Bechtel. No, he's just calling out fuck Bechtel is what
he's like,
saying.
fuck Bechtel, bitches. Fuck this motherfucker.
Okay, go on.
Okay, what was I saying? Oh, so whether or not somebody has been abused ritually, you know, in situations similar to yours, or if it's just the everyday struggles that we have, you know, trying to pay bills and keeping up with family life and just being a human, you know, it's hard. We forget that, you know, if you look back on the hard times, a lot of the things that stand out other than the actual hard time is who and what helped get you through it. You know, we forget that, like, we connect over trauma. It's like something that we go through and like look for community to go through. And it's something that we seek, you know, inspiration through seeing other people who overcame the same things. And so it's also amazing that you do show up in these different ways, whether you're feeling great, whether you're feeling, you know, not 100%, because it's so much more relatable. And I think it helps people be able to process their own trauma and be like, you know what, I don't feel like going to like the store today, but I'm going to go because Charlotte got up and did this video. So like I can get up and just like get out of bed. You know, I should just get up out of bed, even though I don't feel like it. Just take a step and just do something, you know, and it's so easy sometimes to just feel so alone and hopeless. And it's really incredible how you and so many others are willing to be so vulnerable in such a public space to show other people that it's okay. And that this is what connects all of us all. And like, we're going to all heal together. This isn't something anybody has to do alone. And I just really appreciate about your work.
Yes. I there's so much going on in my head, to just so many voices happening right now. And there's so much I want to say. Like, so many people want to come out and say so much that it gets like, nobody gets to say anything. But I just really, really hope, because I remember when I had no one and nothing, even if I had people externally who were there for me. Like, this is my healing phases. I'd say even going back 15 years ago, I remember that books was the way I started. So like, in terms of like other survivors sharing their stories in books, and like therapists sharing stuff, but specifically survivors sharing their stories. And while it's very, very triggering, because my therapist at the time was like, why are you reading these things? You know, like, do you want mastery? Because they're triggering. And I was like, they're the only things that make me feel less alone. So like, there are different levels to connection. And I guess I just want survivors to know that. Not that you have to be isolated with books, but that's just a resource that has been coming to mind a lot. And sometimes I can't even read because I'm so overwhelmed, even when I want to. But it's nice that there's so many resources,
Yes,
so we know we're not alone.
exactly.
And abusers, all abusers, want to sever any sort of ability to truly connect and
Yes,
truly heal. So, like, talking about being all done up and everything, and it's okay to look cute and be done up and be bubbly and stuff. Like, nothing wrong with that. But there is a time where that's completely a way to not be connected. And all of us have been, taught to perform and mask and be sexy. That's another, be marketable. That's another thing. A lot of survivors, it's hard to not fall into that. And it's okay if that's happening though. And also I hope you can get, whoever is in bed today, I hope you can get out of bed, but if you can't, that's okay too. I have some days where I can't get out of bed. I'm in a lot of pain. I also have like hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and some other health stuff, and I've had a lot of health issues going on and losing my hair and stuff. So there's those things too that a lot of survivors, especially of like a government experimentation, who are neurodivergent, tend to have HEDS. We're noticing that a lot, or at least the ones that seem to be talking about it. So that's another fun fact for you. But you just even watching this, you just even hopefully you can get a little giggle, either hear like something else, like that's incredible. Um,
and I want to
yeah,
show
because
too real quick before we get into other stuff while we're
oh
talking
yeah.
about giggling, something that you and I giggled about.
Oh, I'm
Comment.
so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so glad. Sorry. I hope I didn't scare your puppers.
So just a little backstory. I sent this to Charlotte, but I think it was like a week ago or something, maybe not even. I had this comment. You could see whenever I saw it. It was 4 minutes ago on my YouTube, and it's from Christy Powell. So shout out to Christy. But I sent it to Charlotte
Christy.
immediately, and it says, "I came back here just to say, fuck you, Bechtel has unintentionally become a stim of mine." And I was like, "This is great."
I hope that Christy is out there in grocery stores and out and about, just be like, fuck Bechtel, you know? And it does feel good coming out of your mouth. Like it
It
really does
was.
feels
It's
nice on your
satisfying.
lips. Yeah, it is so satisfying. So I'm so glad she posted on there and said that because it made my day. I could not stop laughing.
And
So,
so if you guys listening have fuck Bechtel stories or videos, like
yes.
please send them because they're great. We need like
Yes,
a whole
please.
marketing campaign. We need like a national
We
campaign of fuck you
we
Bechtel.
do need a fun. And then when I walk into the courtroom, like me and other survivors, we're gonna have it playing the fuck Bechtel, like
That song I made.
yes, the song you made. And speaking of Bechtel, blah. So I mean, one of these days, because I've been so whatever, I'm doing the best I can and a good job, especially considering everything. Like, um, but when we do more research, because I have these binders and binders of research, I printed out so many papers because I've gone down so many hyperfixations because I'm desperately trying to find what the fuck happened to me. Like most of my life, all my energies should be going towards like, I don't know, actually like becoming president, which I do a great job at. Like we would, but like meaning towards like, oh, getting into a healthy romantic relationship, building a family, like my energies like not should and like should be doing this, but like I shouldn't have to be doing these desperate deep dives to try to look desperately through photos for any clues and proof of what happened to me, having flashbacks constantly. My dad, there's in a loop played of him raping me, like which is intentionally by design. They put that in me, and it's in a lot of Ramcoa systems too, where they have trauma memories on loop. So like even talking to you right now, I can see it, and I feel this pressure. It's not like actually out here. It's in my inside mind's eye. But like I shouldn't be having to do any of this. And here we are. And by me, like I shouldn't, no survivor should be having to put all our energies into it. And this is what it is. Like as soon as I accept that, that's very empowering too. And it's really interesting because for me, I don't think God put me through this. I don't think God was like, I'm gonna have, because you're so strong, Charlotte, I'm gonna have you do this. Like I'm gonna have kids get hurt. And maybe this is just how I feel. God has always helped me through it. Like God never abandoned me, even though I was being hurt. It's hard to explain, but that felt important for some reason. Another way of not being alone. I hope people can find a bond with a loving higher power, because that's taken a fucking long time for me to truly access that and feel it. Sometimes it goes away, but the fact I have it, and to the amount I have, has been incredible. So I know that's possible for people, and just hang in there. So anyways, fuck Bechtel. I'm working on reading this book. I brought it up, but Friends in High Places, about Bechtel being sketch as fuck, because there's a lot of information about Bechtel being sketch as fuck. And they're involved with, I guess I just assume this is common knowledge, but a lot of people don't even know about Bechtel. But they are a big part of Bohemian Grove, like a huge part. And like, yeah. Oh, I thought
we did talk about that a little bit. Yeah. But it's fascinating how something like a big corporation is like in bed with this little like ritual site that's like in the woods. It's like, how did that happen? You know, but you see how it happened when you think about, you know, what they're doing behind the scenes together.
Right? And my dad and his Bechtel fucking friends were all involved in the ritual abuse, weird shit, and the trafficking, filming us and my friends. So this book, I don't know if people have seen it or heard of it. It's the Bohemian Grove and Other Retreats. Someone wrote about it. They were looking at, so William Domhoff. Oh, so he writes, it's an expose kind of guy. And and he talks about a study in the ruling class. So that's one of the things I'm reading too. But what I wanted to jump ahead to is that in the Mandalay camp, so here's another page. I'll have to, whatever, I'm just going to read it. But he was in the Mandalay camp, Stephen D. Bechtel, San Francisco. So, which is where I grew up, and my dad worked at Bechtel. And so he was, again, the Mandalay camp, so they mentioned him in that book. And then in this one, the other one, they mention, sorry guys, I have so many things highlighted and stuff, so I don't know. Eventually we'll deep dive and stuff. There's so much to say. But they talk about how Mandalay Camp is one of the most exclusive ones. And so Bechtel just like rolls on in he's like from Minnesota or some shit, and then he just like steps on people again and again and again. He's an opportunist, and he makes his way up to this big multi-bajillion-dollar company that has contracts all over the world. I'm sure they're making billions off this war too. Like they're those type of people. And so they talk about how many people, powerful, influential people, and CIA people. Like, I mean, like they're involved in DARPA currently, and they definitely, I do believe part of like, they were involved in my government experimentation stuff too. Sorry, allegedly, whatever, but like there's so many things available. And they worked on the Hoover Dam.
Yes.
And that's a ritual abuse site. So Bohemian Grove, and yeah, there's just a lot going on here.
What's the Mandalay camp that you talked about? Is that like a literal camp, or is that like, what is the Mandalay camp?
Oh, within the Bohemian Grove, they have little sections that they give the men's to, like the sleeping quarters. So they're each assigned, like they're all so you know, like tables at a wedding kind of thing. Like they assign people and then have them in their little camp. So he got in the one with like presidents and shit. Well, I guess there were probably various, but you know, he was in one of the biggins.
The elite.
You know? Yeah, the elite of the elite. So Mandalay Camp, there's a lot of different ones.
Interesting.
I think there are probably 33 different ones, but
right, exactly.
Yeah. Fucking Bechtel.
Fuck you, Bechtel.
Yeah, and it says the Bechtel did the bidding of the CIA. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
That's neat. You're looking at all of that together so you can like see the common ground between it in real time.
Yeah. Oh, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm a little bit messy. What did you want to do?
Oh no, I said it's neat that you're reading all of those things simultaneously so you can like connect the dots between the books and like what you're reading and find the common little parts that connect it all.
Okay, good. I was like, I'm sorry I'm going so slow. I wanted
No,
to
you're
have
not.
so many different sorry, I just saw another comment. I talk about how I think that they're involved with Zorro Ranch too. So
Bechtel? Oh my
yeah, well,
gosh.
and then I think you mentioned like someone mentioned Jesters potentially being involved, or was that me? That could have been me. Started reading this one a few months ago. Yeah, no, and they're just involved in so many different things. So yeah, they mention it in this book, their association with Bohemian Grove, and then also in this book of the guy who's researching or researched years ago, decades ago, you know, the ruling class. So I'm working on those. So a little teaser for everybody
That's
eventually.
fascinating.
Eventually. So I guess we'll just go to me being programmed. Is that where we're gonna go?
That's where we're going.
That's just where we're
Actually,
going.
oh my gosh, you're just so cute. Seeing these pictures of you, it's like, how could
Oh,
anybody
I
hurt
know.
you?
Little me. There's such like precious baby ones. Like
Oh
it's
my
so
gosh.
sad because you can see how tired I am in a lot of these pictures. Like I'm just so tired. And it's interesting because after or just I don't know,
Looks like you
interesting
have
is the right.
circles under your eyes in that one.
Oh, I do. I'm going to show you a lot of the pictures where I have someone
Oh
mentioned
my
panda
God.
eyes kind of stuff. I mean, I have circles right now. Lack of sleep. Like, and this is me very because I was being horrifically abused. And also something they do is like my dad would take me out to buy pretty dresses and jewelry and all these things. They bought me presents, right? Give you candy and presents and stuff. So you have a positive association with these people, but you're being horrifically abused too. You know, they fuck with all the chemicals in your brain so much. Where's other poor baby?
And I appreciate you just sharing that little part too, because I think a lot of people, when they hear these testimonies, have this impression that it's just all abuse. And they don't realize that, like, if you were only being abused and that was all that you knew, you'd probably have a different reaction. There wouldn't be like a trauma bond. Like, they have to also bond with you in order to keep you compliant and like keep the confusion going. And they do that through nice things.
1,000,000% that confusion and that chaotic attachment. So you never know who they're going to be. And then you're constantly trying to get, how can I get that one out? You know, whether you're consciously like, no, there's different people abusing you, but like meaning the same person is doing different horrific things to you in different settings or similar settings. And one time they're amazing towards you and other times they're not. And then they sever that too. Cause like, there's pictures that I wish I could show, but I don't want to show my sibling on here or any other survivors. But there's pictures of the two of us standing next to each other and we are glowing and you can tell he adores me and I adore him. And the lore is that as soon as I was born, he hated me, right? Because the most of my memories of him, him being really cruel, not like raping me or something, but him being really cruel to me. Like, just, I don't even want to go into it, just cruel and wanting me to be horrible. I remember, or feel like shit. I remember asking him one time, I was like 9, and I was like, why do you hate me so much? And he's like, I don't know. I just don't want you to be 100% happy. And he was programmed to do this. So what happened is we
Mm.
started where it was clear he didn't hate me when I was born. We adored each other. We were like, again, in those pictures we're shining. And then there's a part where you can tell something happened between us, and that's by design because I had someone I felt safe with, he loved me, and then they fuck it up. You know, sometimes they kill the person you're attached to, you know, and have that bond. So it's just so much fuckery. And I have memories of laying on my dad's belly and eating his belly button lint because I was a very, not because he made me, but
So funny.
I know, but I was also really starving a lot. So
I was
there was
gonna say
that.
it
But
reminds me
also
of like
I was
eating
like
hungry.
stimming a lot too, which was a thing. Just like, okay, that's gonna sound allegedly crazy, but Runtman's dad, Fred, I used to eat his flakes of skin on his forehead when I met him.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, sorry, I want to throw up and die now. Like I'm feeling the dizziness, not from the eating, but just admitting that I probably maybe was held by him.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh
In
my God.
Florida. So like, anyways, I need to walk that back. That's walk that back a little bit. But like, I remember in these situations feeling safe in these men's hands. They were not safe men, you know? So I had moments of that. So it's horrific,
It
you
is,
know,
and it's so confusing.
yeah, so no wonder people don't know who to trust,
And
you
you
know,
don't
and
really
that's
know like what love is. It's like you associate love with the nice things and then also abuse. So it's like there's just, they really toe that gray line and just make it just incredibly confusing for you to understand like healthy love and healthy relationships.
big time. And I'm still trying to get um work through my issues with thinking that stalking is love. I've had a lot of stalkers, not just like gang stalking from the cult kind of, um, you know, the organized abuse stalking, but like I always think someone who's like calling me a lot and obsessed with me and like weird, like follows me places. There's a part of me that's like, if they're not doing that, that doesn't mean they like, because like
Oh,
my dad used to take me everywhere because he didn't want me to talk to anyone.
mm,
Like, and then he would follow up, like call me and be like, what are you doing at your house? Like, and he died allegedly when I was 7, almost 8. Like this guy, and so that's part of the confusing thing too, and then also not feeling worthy and, not being able to open up to someone, anyone really, because you're hiding so much, even from yourself that you don't know about. So yeah, it's really complicated. And I actually am getting healthier in that respect. Slowly but surely. Very slowly, but surely. So anyways, just thanks for listening, everybody who's here. So this is my like it's weird. I have a lot of pictures from my childhood where it's like, why did they keep that? It's almost like they give little clues, because clearly Project Monarch, like how cliche is this? I mean, it just feels like they throw a lot in your face. And then here's my dad, and that's my dad. And he's actually, what a weird photo,
I know.
right? It's
It's
just weird.
so weird.
Not like he's smiling at me and looking at me like, what dad would do that? Like, this isn't normal, right? Like, this is weird looking. He's like, I'm asking, this looks weird, right?
But you're so cute.
I know I am. I'm really deer in the headlights. It's hard to see, but really dissociated. And they would do like this snapping thing to keep me on time, and not in like a regular way that you would have a choreographed dance and helping people keep the time. It was more like a hypnotic trance state, and he's doing hypnotism cues here. Like he's saying things to get me to do certain things. So the people here are actually kind of being presented like, this is what your kid can do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this isn't like the elite back here or something like that. No, this is regular fellow people I grew up with type stuff back there. Like it's hard to see, but there's a kid, it looks like, who's crying in the background too. So
Oh
yeah,
my
so there's
goodness.
that. There's that.
I had one
Uh,
guest on my podcast. She kind of compared it to like, what did she say? That they show you off like you're like a prize pony, It's not like, oh, look at my kid. Like, I'm so proud of my child. It's like, look at this animal that I have. It's going to perform tricks for you,
this exactly. They're like, look what this model can do. Like model of machine can
Yeah,
do. Like, yeah,
right,
exactly. The pony can do this trick.
right.
They're spot on.
We're going to give it words. It's going to obey and you're going to clap for it. Like, it's so
It's
dehumanizing.
exactly. And it's insane how it's just so natural for them. Like I'm just hearing in my mind right now where meant to perform on a stage, or I'm performing on a stage and they're doing those things. It's actually one of my altars, Lolita, and then other altars. So it's not always one altar, you know? It's never one altar. Like we have a lot of fully formed altars, like hundreds, but then we have so many fragments, memory fragments. So like we can have a slice of like being trafficked. And so there's like a little small few second slice even. And that's also by design. I mean, it's how my natural makeup does things, like inside genetically. So they tend to when they see that in a profile of a child that they have access to very young, and they're like, oh, this person's going to be able to split up real easily because they have this this neurodivergence and this ability to dissociate. We're going to break it. Anyways, I just have it here in my mind, the chatter of it sounds like a crowded room of like a bunch of rich people in fancy black and white outfits holding their like clinking their little glasses and just like laughing while I'm fucking performing on the stage in this trance, like doing ballet and like opera type stuff. Not that I'm an opera singer, but like there's a piano being played and they're just like, oh, so normal, just like, yeah, this child, you know? And I'm like, what, 7? It's insane. Like it's horrific. So here's another of me. This isn't like a rich people thing I was being presented on, because when I was in like more formal settings of like more elegant settings, I guess, I would have fancy outfits on, like princess dresses, but like fancy princess dresses. Not, yeah. Anyway, so here's one where you can just see my severe dissociation. And then I have to cover this because it's wet down there. And it feels like it's just some sort of gross, like somebody. And then here's my, like, we kind of talked about that beta programming a little bit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I read, there's a lot of, not like a lot, but there's some information about different types of program, like beta programming, omega or stuff like that. And I don't have, mine isn't so like that. I feel like I'm a newer generation. Like that's people are understanding that one. It's starting to come out. And then mine's a later generation of things they improved upon those type of stuff. For example, like my therapist said, and again, some people in my generation of models of, make some models of children being trafficked. Some people will have, strictly beta, omega, that kind of programming. But so you're not like, I'm saying to survivors here, if you have that, doesn't mean you're faking or something like that. No, it's just different groups, different, whatever the fucks. But for me, there's an example of sometimes with dissociative identity disorder and how groups set it up, you can take an antidepressant, for example, or even like a Norco or something like that. And the alter that takes it will somehow take the biology of the medication into like, they'll like somehow take it back. Like it's some alters can have different allergies to things, so a switch can happen and you can be deathly allergic to something, but the other one's not, it's wild. So it's actually possible for me to like take an antidepressant or again some medication, and an alter will actually, so it won't go into the body, I won't get the effects, it be taken away somehow. And so this is hard to explain. I hope I'm kind of making sense in that you take the med, but it's like you didn't actually take the med, but obviously the effects are still in it, but it's somehow being taken away and stored. So my therapist has met survivors who have an inner pharmacy where the medicine's being stored. And what can happen as part of DICE programming or something, the effects can be released together.
Really?
Yeah, at a more toxic level. And that, I have a theory that might be, have you heard about like the serotonin syndrome or something? That sometimes too much serotonin can make you go crazy and die if you don't get treatment. I kind of wonder if dissociation plays a role in that, because they're like, we don't understand exactly why this happens. And I'm like, I wonder if these people are multiple and that's happening. But anyways, talking about a new generation, my version of a pharmacy is, because that does happen, not with every medication we take, but it has happened, where it's like a little Bo Peep setting, and there's she looks like me, and she's wearing a blonde wig, and she's in this cute little outfit, a little Bo Peep outfit, and she has like a little, like she's on a farm, and there's a barn behind her, and all of a sudden I'll see a man it's a man, but I only see his hand handing her the medication. And then she'll take it and she'll walk into the barn. This is in my inner world. Walk into the barn and she gives it to these cows. So that's the version of the pharmacy I have. So abuser groups have updated things to have things more hidden. You would never think, like, there's just a bunch of medication effects chilling inside cows in my in my inner world. So
That's so
because
interesting.
people who were starting to remember things would go in and be like, oh, a pharmacy, that makes sense. Oh, we can kind of break this down and figure out how we help here. So it's just, it's interesting and horrific how many different ways they're learning to hide things,
And just how like the body can compartmentalize. I've known survivors too, where like one part of them can like drink tons of alcohol and not get drunk, but another part has just a little bit and they're hammered. Same thing with weed. Some alters have higher tolerances than others, and so it's really fascinating too, just how that is processed in the body and how the body can pick and choose when it feels effects depending on what part is fronting and takes the medicine into the body or the drug or the weed or whatever it is.
Exactly. Alcohol had the same effect with us too, of just like different ones. And I do think I'm alive because of the fact they could split it up with
Yeah,
the copious amounts of alcohol that we had. Like we should definitely be dead.
I've heard survivors be like, yeah, there's times that like I was drunk, but like if I needed to, if something happened that I needed to like snap into another mode, like another part, I could snap into a part that doesn't get drunk and perform as if I had no alcohol. And I was like, that is incredible. Like in some ways it's really amazing and it could be helpful to have that, but it's also just like, whoa, our bodies are
Isn't
amazing.
that incredible? The things
Yes.
our body can do. I also believe it's very spiritual and energetic of those things of why we're able to do that. I mean, of
Yes.
course, we're spiritual beings, excuse me. But yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. And it would be nice if I could control that. And I'm like, hey, let's switch out an altar that's not feeling nice. Not there yet, but I have hope. I have hope. We have hope. So, yeah. So here's another one of me. I was raped in this outfit, but
Oh
you
my
can tell
God.
I'm pretty dead inside. I don't know if you can see it. Like my aura just seems really,
You just look like flat, kind of like high,
yeah.
exhausted.
Oh, and that jump back a second ago, alters can also so I could walk into therapy. I'm completely sober right now. An alter can come forward and be completely wasted and be slurring the words. And yeah, my therapists have seen this. I've experienced it, completely wasted. And sometimes most of the time it's like a body memory from the past because I have little alters that come forward and they're drugged, like straight up drugged. And it's a past memory. So they come forward and they're just like, it's really, really devastating. And I'm trying in therapy and also outside of therapy, obviously, with tools the best I can to let them know they aren't alone and you're not drugged anymore. And so they can heal and not be in a constant
Mhm.
state of nausea, dizziness, whatever's going on and they're feeling. Um, so that's another thing is literally I've also gone in have situations where I've gone wherever I am, my top lip is completely swollen and then at some point it goes away with a switch and then at some point very shortly after it'll come back. So it on yeah. And I was just, it's absolutely again incredible of these things that happen and really sad because our poor body's trying to just try and
Yeah, it's like you're just living out horrors and it's manifesting physically.
yeah. Um so here's a picture of me. That's another survivor next to me. Of me in a tub, obviously. And this tub, my dad hurt me a lot in that tub. And I have this one memory. I was younger in this because I could kind of like of the age I could swim in a tub, kind of like that, like put my whole body. So I was smaller than I am in that picture. But I have a memory of him coming in the bathroom. He's naked, um, probably drunk. But long story short is I poop in the bathroom. I defecate because I'm so scared.
Oh,
And it also reminds me, or I was having a flashback at the same time, during that moment of being in ritual abuse water, because warm water, certain types of waters at different times, but so he didn't just, it's not just me being terrified because he raped me in that tub and did other things, but I was also really terrified that I was going to be. I didn't know this at the time. The little me at the time, like, kind of was just like, I'm scared of him. But the level of terror where I couldn't control myself was because there was also associated with some things that happened a few nights before when I was taken out of the house, and horrific, weird stuff happened in a little body of water like that. And then also he made me eat it. He
Are
was
you?
so mad at me.
Oh my gosh, Charlotte.
Yeah, and that's pretty common, I hear, with survivors, right? Having to eat
Right, whether
things.
theirs or somebody else's. It's just horrific. Be so
It's,
little, just innocent
I know, little babies.
little baby.
Um, and also here's another picture. There's two other survivors there. One of the survivors here, we're all naked in the hot tub, and I'm again super dissociated. Sorry for my nasty hands. I can't afford my nails to get done. Well, part of I want to get my nails done, but I feel so trapped. I'm having too much PTSD related things that I can't sit there and not have a panic attack. So,
Um,
just so survivors know, like, there are people know there's a lot of things like baths. I can't take baths because I have flashbacks. I can't, and so many people are like, "Oh, so relaxing. I'd love to relax in a bath, but that's just not where I am." And and some survivors can't take showers for, even though I was abused in showers, that for some reason doesn't trigger me to the same level as baths do. So, like, it's just like people wouldn't know, looking at people, that it's horrific to even take a bath or see a bath, like, they don't realize what survivors, go through. But one of the survivors there, she so again, why do I have this picture?
where
Like,
were you? Was that at your house, your hot tub, or one of the
no,
other?
this is Tahoe area.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we used to hang out with these children all the time, and one of them came to me in 20 end of 2020 and uh, said she didn't want to tell me, but she said she's the one who really remembered my dad raping her and trafficking us together in her journey. Yeah, it's really, really sad because I had the memories of her and her sister and these things, but I don't want to go to these people that I remember. I want people, like, I don't want to be like, "Hey, were you raped by, I remember these," like,
Right. You got to
I
let them remember. Yeah.
if they're ever going to
If
remember,
they're ever
but
fun. Yeah.
she actually came to me, and that's been a really interesting and incredible journey, and devastating.
And also probably
Yeah.
validating. She's probably felt
So
crazy, like,
validating.
thinking that, like, oh my gosh, I'm imagining this about Charlotte's dad. Like, how that can be just so reassuring to be like, oh my gosh, like you said earlier, I'm not crazy.
We're not crazy.
No. So sad.
No. So here's another me. Like, who keeps these pictures? That's another thing that I don't get. Like, I'm not happy,
You're
right?
so cute though. Oh my gosh. Is that what's on your shirt? Is that a butterfly?
No, that's like,
Oh.
this is a super, like, appropriated, not appropriated, but like stereotypical Chinese thing.
Oh, I see now. Okay. It almost looked
That'd
like
be
a little blue
interesting.
butterfly.
Oh, actually, something that's really interesting is blue butterflies. I know everyone thinks monarch programming and thinks of the orange one, obviously, but blue butterflies and I think green butterflies are also part of the Project Monarch type stuff. I mean, maybe they're the blue ones. And I noticed, I looked at Club 33. I have a picture of it somewhere in Disneyland. They have three butterflies, in one of those cases. Yeah, and one's blue. And when I saw the
Interesting.
blue, yeah, and I was like, those fuckers. Like, that's
Fuck
goddamn right.
Disney. Fuck Club
Fuck Disney.
33.
Fuck Club 33. Fuck Bechtel. Fuck Jesters. There's so many bitches. Um, but yeah, it's really sad. I'm trying to see a lot of these pictures. I wish I could show you guys of fellow survivors in normal time stuff. And we're all in trances. You can see the level of dissociation. It's wild to me and sad. Oh. And then here's a picture I was just showing her. I
Um,
we're barely clothed here. We have a shirt, and here's another survivor over here. It's actually an extended family member. And we're both in Florida here and being trafficked there. Palm Beach area, Orlando, Jacksonville, but Palm Beach is a huge one. And what do I want to?
And all these pictures too, if you don't necessarily know what you're looking at, they might just seem kind of like obscure moments that the photo was taken, not the child was unhappy or dissociated. It's almost just like, oh, you cut, like, why didn't you have the kid smile? You know, like there. You just
Right?
you look shocked almost, or just you look dissociated, you know, which is really sad. Look how cute you are, your little outfit. Oh my gosh.
I know. And then here's when I'm smiling. It's hard to see, but it's
Whoa.
not a like it's like a princess like trained smile.
Yeah.
You can kind of see like the little
And your stance too is like very perfected, the way you're standing and the way that
yes,
your hands are.
exactly. Although look, I'm messing up a little bit.
So
But
cute.
yeah, but even like the pouty lip thing, like this is all trained looking behavior.
Are you wearing lipstick in that one?
Yeah, I'm wearing lipstick. It's hard to see, and mascara.
And they did your hair. You look like, it looks like they're trying to make you like look like an adult even though you're a kid.
Speaking of which, okay, here's another survivor. But here I am. I'm 8. I'm 8 here.
Oh my gosh. You look
Yeah,
like
so
you're like 16.
and my therapist and I, oh, hold on, I'm clearly getting a little, and it's okay to show this.
Let's take a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
Thank you
But
for
yeah,
sharing these, by the way. It's
what?
just good to get. I said thank you for sharing all of these, by the way. It's interesting to see the perspectives on things that we look at a lot, especially online. Everybody has photos of, you know, themselves as kids or their own kids, and we don't really think about like what's going on behind the smile or that weird face that they're making, or why does the parent have that kid naked and they're posting them, you know, or make like
Yeah,
emojis over their private parts. It's like, what's really going on here?
right?
Yeah.
There's some real,
There's just like weird things we don't really think about. We just keep scrolling. But these things make me think every time I see photos. I'm like, what's really going on at these homes? You know, you just kind of like have compassion for these little kids a little bit more.
right? You just never know.
You
I
never
wish
know.
my first thought when I see a dad with a daughter, my first thought is always, I hope he's not raping her. I wish that weren't my first thought, but that is every time my first thought. Um, so anyway, speaking of, back to her, I was being trafficked. This is in near my hometown, Benicia, but I have an alter Lolita who she was trafficked a lot, well, around everywhere, but Florida is where she got the name Lolita. A lot of systems have an alter named Lolita because that book and they're disgusting pedo people. Um, but I was talking about the age range of when I um Fuckstein situation, you know.
Lolita Express.
Yeah. Um, so there's something I want to say, but I can't say it right now. But the main point here about me being 8 in this picture, but looking much older, is that I have this memory. I'm not going to name names right now. I have before, but I'm just not in a space. But this man who he had me in a line of other children and was presenting me to this other person. They're well known, but I hold on. The one that was like, "Hey, do you want this one?" and was like presenting me to this man. And like, "Oh, she does this and that," like, you know, and also grooming me by being like, "She's one of the special ones." Right? And so I was like, oh, "I'm a special one," right? You know, so
Oh,
like I'm so special. He chose me. You know, so I that's part of the grooming. He didn't give a fuck about me, you know, he didn't. That's a grooming technique. He didn't actually think I was special. You know, they don't. They're just sick fucks. But he was presenting me to the man, and the man looks at me and he said, "No, she's too young." And I remember at the time feeling there was a part of me that was like, "Oh wow, he's a good guy. He doesn't want a little child who's 7." And um he went. Okay, so that happened, and me being like, wow, oh, good guy. You know, he preferred 13 to like 16 or something like that. You know, I was too young. But then I'm flashed forward, like I black out in this memory, and then all of a sudden I'm dancing with the guy in a fancy ballroom, fancy princess outfits. There's little boys and girls who are all, and we're dancing tandem. It's like and they're all dressed as like Washingtonian men, and we're in like some sort of like it's weird. And right now I'm losing some memory, so I'll one day go back to this with you one day.
Mm-hmm.
But the main point I'm trying to make is that Lolita will always tell my therapist and me it's amazing what makeup can do, because he was like, she's too young, and then the man who was presenting me dolled me up, so I was of looked more the age type the person wanted.
Oh my gosh.
So they do that kind of, I mean, obviously they do that kind of shit. Just like the many roles we've had to play to per what people wanted is just exhausting. I'm just like, so that needed to be said for some reason. And now I'll need to jump over to my dad, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
So I have this on my TikTok, but here's one of the pictures that like, and you can see, I didn't realize it, but you can see a bruise on me.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Right? Someone,
Your
because I
ribs.
had this on my TikTok, some pictures. Not only is his hand in a creepy spot, I look miserable. Like, why would they keep this picture? You know, like just redo it until I look happy. But they pointed out that there's a bruise.
Oh my
And
God.
then here it is again. And I wish I could show you pictures of my sibling, because he has even bigger. It looks like sometimes that his literally like his bone broke. It's that's how deep they are. I don't know why we're out and about. Like it's so insane. No one saw anything. My dad was very well off, you know, not like rich, rich, but upper middle class. I mean, he was rich, rich, but we only knew him as upper middle class. You know, I think he hit a lot of money, but
Yeah.
you know, he was well off and they were all popular. My mom was in city council, like they were all normal and perfect, right? And smart Ivy League schools, like no way they could be abusing their children. But my sibling and I just we looked so miserable because we were a lot of times. But our but we never, yeah. And then
And
here's
it's so
another.
fascinating
Oh,
too, seeing photos. Like you look at that picture of you and your dad, and even though the photo's disturbing and he has your shirt, you know, the way he's holding your shirt's lifted up and you can see a bruise. If you just saw your dad walking around, he looks normal. Like he doesn't look like the
right?
Hollywood abuser that we expect, like hiding in an alleyway to come out. He just looks like some dude that, you know, you'd see just anywhere. He doesn't stand out, you know, which is also scary to think about how many of these people and these children were walking by every day that are going through this, and they blend in just like how your dad did.
Exactly. And they blend in, and also he was so popular. He made people laugh. People were just like, your dad's you know, the
They
charming
love him.
narcissist.
Yes.
So many people loved him.
And you're so
And
cute in the photo
I
too.
did too, you know,
Sure.
because it was manipulated and I was a
Yeah.
child. Let me see if there's any. Oh, and this is just kind of, I thought this picture was interesting, just how, can you even see it? How tiny
Yeah.
I was. He was already molesting me at this age, and how big of a man he was, right?
It makes me
I
so
think that as
mad. It makes me
soon
want to
as
just
he's,
cry.
oh, I know, I wish I could go back and save her and all the little babies that are being hurt, have been hurt.
Just like
Let
looking
me,
at that size difference, it's like, what the fuck?
right?
How does a man look at like a little tiny child like that and not just want to like save it and protect it and like nurture it? Like who thinks like I'm gonna molest this kid? You know, it just makes me so mad.
It's not at all in my makeup,
You're
genetic
so
makeup.
tiny. You should have just
When,
been like playing and like being loved and fed.
right?
Just, oh, it's so sad. I'm
Right,
sorry.
not, yeah. So
You're so
much
cute. You were such
torture.
a precious girl. We're
He
all
was
going
such
back
a
right now. Everybody listening is hugging that little girl in that moment.
Oh, I love you guys. And here's another one of just how scared I was of him. It's hard to see
Oh,
the facial
oh
expression
my
I'm making.
gosh.
Can you see it?
Yeah, you almost look like you're shielding yourself from him.
Oh shit, you can see my sibling.
Oh, I can blur that out. That's not a problem.
Okay, if you could blur just him out.
Sure.
Yeah. And again, he looks like just such a normal.
He does,
also
yeah.
chill.
Yeah, he looks just like a guy that you'd see like on the tennis court or something, like at your
Yeah,
local gym.
he loved tennis and golf. I think that's how he met also a lot of people in Florida, Palm Beach, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But also he was a Jersey boy. And if you know some people who like Jersey, Fuckstein, like these fucking fuck asses. But also the people, like my godfather is a professor in Florida, and he, you know, he contracts with NASA, and he's a world famous. I mean, this is allegedly he's a great person. So, but allegedly he's, you know, yeah. But he contracted with NASA. That's not allegedly, but I mean me saying he's a horrible person allegedly. That's allegedly, you know. I'm entertainment educational purposes only, but he does contract with NASA. He's an astrophysicist, travels all over the world to different big telescopes. I've been wanting to reach out and ask him about aliens, but also he's not a safe person. So maybe I should. I keep telling. I've almost visited. He has wanted me to go to. I haven't talked to him in years, but when I used to talk to him like 15 years ago, he's like, "Oh, let's go to Sweden and like come to Florida." And my therapist said I had no recollection of telling my therapist at the time horrific things he was about. And I was like, I'm gonna go to Florida. And my therapist at the time was trying so hard to give me the power of choice, you know, and like, but then at some point she was just like, don't go. Like, because one altar would be telling her one thing and I'd be like, I'm gonna go, you know, like.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, and his wife is Swedish, Geneva area or whatever that is. And so, sir, like we were talking how we think there's potentially some sort of connection with him and that. But at the very least, allegedly, there are other survivors who are recognizing him in their abuse story that I know. Allegedly,
That's
supposedly.
Incredible. Yes.
And if you're a great guy, godfather, then you have nothing to worry about. So I'm starting to realize that. Yeah. We're so tough. But yeah, so I'm hoping to collect some things to get something going because he hasn't been stopped. Why would he stop?
Why would he? Yeah. Especially when you're like working with all of these, you know, organizations that are like renowned and esteemed. You know, it's like you said, people, we have this perception of what an abuser looks like. We don't picture them being successful, working, being associated with something like Bechtel or NASA or CERN even, you know, like we just don't have those mental affiliations in our mind of what that looks like. So
yeah, really he looks like it. I mean, he's a nerd, so I mean, not that I love my nerds. Like, I'm a nerd. Like, but I mean, like, my dad was charismatic. This guy is just like, man, little troll. Yeah, get out of here, godfather. But one thing is, though, when I started finding out about other people who have been abused by him, allegedly, supposedly, and I'm not talking about like rape, other types of abuse is mainly what I'm talking about here. You know, and not being more of a subject than a sex object. Like, it's hard for me to put words to thing. I'm sorry I have to be vague, but eventually I want to be talking more about that kind of stuff of people who work for a bit, you know, NASA-y type stuff. Not saying it was NASA though, but just showing the level of connection this man has. Yeah, and also when there's remote viewing, like things that I've been involved in involving like remote viewing, remote perturbation, like a bunch of stuff in terms of like government type stuff. When you're an astrophysicist and they want us to be traveling more than just the Earth for military purposes, you know, it's a lot bigger. I know I sound crazy, but I also don't. Okay, thank you. I also need to tell myself I'm crazy sometimes because it hurts so much to have any of this be real. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, your testimony corroborates so many other survivors, and that's been like a pain point for a lot of survivors to like share things on that level, because they feel it'll discredit the other things that they say that are more grounded according to like what society can accept. But it's like, this is way beyond like what we've been exposed to here in this little physical realm that's been manufactured for us. Like, they are above and beyond space and time with everything that they're doing. And the children going through these programs know that, and we don't on the outside of this.
Mm-hmm. And you bring up such a great point, because some people don't even believe the incest portion of my story. And I'm just like,
it's like so
what
hard
the fuck? Like, what?
I said, it's so hard for people to just like grasp that. Like, it's just out of the consciousness of what like a normal person could ever consider doing. And so they just block it out. Like, nobody could do that. And it's like, it actually is very, very common.
Yeah. A lot more common than people think.
Yes.
Where do I don't know where I want to go from here. I guess we can just talk about Shiva.
Huh? Yeah, let's talk about Shiva.
So, speaking of CERN, and was it CERN that they have that weird video that came out where they're like praying to Shiva or something? Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so CERN has, and I can bring a picture up, CERN has a Shiva statue in front of it.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Can you pull it up?
And there's been allegedly there's a video out there of there's a video out there of a ritual being done at CERN.
Can I say stuff, or are you gonna pull it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my dad traveled the world for Bechtel. Like, that's what Bechtel is everywhere. And so he brought back a lot of little gifts and stuff, but some that they kept and I was able to keep. So there's the Shiva one, right? Because they would keep a lot of things that would be there to trigger me. And so them to just like give honors to things that they were perverting, you know? Like, they take any sort of religion, any sort of spirituality, and they try to pervert it. Because I know a lot of people are very focused on Christianity, which is okay. And I don't want to demonize. There are some spirituality and religion that we shouldn't demonize. There's a lot of good in it. So that's not what I'm trying to do here. And the way they pervert this in my life, because they also pervert Christianity, and some survivors have Jesus, someone dresses up as Jesus and rapes them, and it's really sad. So I do have Christianity themes and abuse like that, but also other religions. So anyways, this is just kind of taunting me because I do have an altar that thinks she's Shiva, and I'll get into that in a minute after we show. And then I showed my friend who's Hindu, and she said that this god, she's like, you need to break this. And there's a lot of items I have saved from my childhood. Yeah, that's been a journey, but I've saved some things and they have nasty energy, but I'm not ready to give them up yet because they're proof to me. Yeah. But she said I need to destroy this, and she said this situation is about abusing children. Yeah, so it's like my dad was like, yeah, this is little memories of me, of like they channel things to try to pervert it and rationalize why they're abusing children. So, good. Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. A lot of people don't know that, Shiva, there's just like this giant statue of Shiva right in front of CERN.
And
like, why?
The four arms, right? Yeah, why? Exactly. It's not like it's because CERN is in Sweden Geneva. Or something, right?
Yeah. I think it's in Switzerland, Geneva.
So it's not like it's in, which again is where my godfather's wife is from, but which is also interesting. Like, I could see that maybe in like India, like that would make more sense, right? It's a Hindu god, right? Right?
I think so.
So it doesn't make sense to me, like, why there's not like a big population that would be the main religion, right?
Yeah, it says on here gifted from India, so it sounds like
Oh, okay. So
is
that's where it's interesting.
Shiva is the deity responsible for destroying the worlds, gifted from India.
They are
Kind of
internationally connected. That's the group. This is so international.
there's some like ritual. Hold on, ritual
The
at CERN. There's like
oh, the
allegedly.
opening.
Yeah, there's allegedly like. Oh wait, where was it? Mock human sacrifice at CERN, and they call it like a fake thing. Let me see if I can share this on the screen real quick. Share screen. I didn't have it up. There it is. Yep. Fake human sacrifice filmed.
Pranking scientists. How did they get on CERN's property?
I don't know. Maybe they already worked there. Right.
Oh, I mean, what I mean is trying to debunk the fact it's a prank. Like, I don't know. That's weird.
I know, pranking scientists suspected.
Okay. Like, come on.
So yeah, people can go look that up. There is actual like there's videos of it. I think there's one on here that I can click, but I don't know if it's like still up. Oh, do you want me to play it?
Yeah, it's playing.
It's only a minute.
I'm cool playing it.
Okay, let me move it. Actually, I guess I could do this and make it a little bit bigger. Okay.
Oh my God, look at
Can you hear it?
The shadow looks creepy to me too.
And it's like right in Shiva. Yeah. It's like right in the middle of where Shiva is. So let's play this. Like weird.
Ew, this is gross. Yeah, they're in all the black robes. So they all paid a bunch of money to get robes and shit. Yeah, right.
I know.
Oh. How is this funny?
Like, I know.
What the?
And then it's like somebody's filming it. Being like,
yeah,
fuck.
I would have.
Fuck.
I would have been freaked out too.
Right. So yeah, people can go look that up, and that could have like all been a prank for sure. It could have, but it's just interesting. The big media push for it to like, went viral, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, it's fake. It's fake. People, they staged it. It's like, did they?
I don't know. Yeah, something. I mean, obviously something's off there.
Something's off, yes. But if anybody has any information connecting CERN to Bechtel or to Bohemian Grove, to the, Jesters, whatever, like it would be kind of interesting to see if anybody has any puzzle pieces to connect these different pieces of Charlotte's story.
That would be very interesting. I don't think I have not been able to connect Bechtel to CERN. My godfather didn't work with Bechtel. I mean, as far as I know. He could have connected though with my dad, because that's where my godfather came from, my dad's side, that was they grew up together. And it's when I started finding out about, maybe I already said this, but I'll just say it again, other survivors that had been hurt by my godfather. Because what would happen is, like, it was a friend of mine that I got really close. We met through a survivor support group years ago. We were friends for a couple of years, and then we were sharing notes essentially, because there's a couple survivors I'm close with. Our inner worlds are almost identical. Like, in terms of like, with this one survivor, we have constellations inside too, where it's really hard to explain, but like I'm getting shut down, but like, you could give a longitude and latitude coordinate, and that will help you find a specific altar inside your system. So it's another way they called it up. And also part of remote viewing kind of torture stuff is they'd give you a longitude and latitude, or you would give them a longitude and latitude of Earth. So then you can find things and they could find things, if that makes sense.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's actually, I have this memory of It's there's so many like I'm getting kind of shut down, so I don't think I'll be able to do it this time. But in terms of like the remote viewing type of stuff and perturbation and stuff like that, the astral projection, all those things and all the weird things. I have a lot of memories I want to share with you guys, but one that keeps going to mind right now is, you know how if anyone's ever done FOIAs and you look up where the remote viewing stuff they have out and about, but like where they're like, it's just fun. Like these people are completely voluntary, we're studying them and they're totally just adults, so we don't torture them. We get them in this relaxed state. Like there are some ways they document rabbit holes I found, and I could not find them well, I do. I have a bunch of binders over here that I want to share with you that some corroborated my abuse stuff, and others it talks about we need to experiment with children, the blind, and other vulnerable populations. Yeah, just someone, and that's like an early 90s report. So yeah. And they, if I can find it, I'll email it to you. Because again, I have all these binders. And there's another one that talks about when a child, that it says how we get children to participate in these studies. Obviously, we have to have the parents to sign off with them. If your parents are abusing you, they ain't gonna give a fuck. And then it says, and we have to have the child give a verbal consent. But of course, the child's going to say yes when fucking people in power are asking you, and they're probably grooming you. But they have a little blurb about it, a little part that says these are the requirements, and it's under the government, so it's not under like, how do I explain it? It's under like the military section of testing. So anyways, if you look up the FOIA thing, people draw like stick figures. They have them draw what they're seeing, right? And some people are better at drawing, obviously. So what I have a memory of is me being in a chair in a room, like most of it's black. I'm just in this chair. It's almost like a dentist chair. It's not a dentist chair, but I'm leaning back and there's a big screen in front of me, a giant blank screen, and it's big. And then next to me is a window, like it's like a little box where two like scientist-y looking guys with a computer are in the little box, right? And I'm just looking up, and what happens is somehow the picture I'm seeing in my mind, it's appearing on the screen in front of me, and it's like being downloaded. So it's not just like instant projection. There's exactly what I'm thinking in my mind's eye. It's a downloading, like it'll have one set of data and then it'll fill in more of the picture and this is early 90s, right? Filling more in the picture, because they have I feel crazy saying this, but whatever the fuck, this is just a memory I have and whatever. But somehow so they don't have me drawing stick figures or people trying to draw. They literally get the picture from your brain in there. So that's something that would happen to me. So any survivors who have some similar thing, let me know. And there's some stuff I'm not ready to talk about of why I think they had better access to my brain than just like the average bear. Some hardware situation. So I think they do that stuff, and then the computer is able to talk with other body stuff, and then put it on the screen is what I'm surmising. But yeah, that's exactly. I just remember it was so bright when it's all white, and then fill in exactly what I'm seeing with wherever I was going.
There's been some survivors that have come on here that have talked about sort of similar things where it was like this sort of tapping into consciousness through remote viewing, specifically over at Stanford Research Institute. Some of these older survivors who were used in remote viewing at SRI. One comes to mind where there was an experiment. The guy was told to imagine what somebody in a different room was thinking. Like they would think of a picture and he would have to think about what it was. And he said he kept getting it right, but they were like torturing him, like at the same time that they're having him do this, and he was like, it was just a absolutely horrific, experience for me. But he's like, it was really strange. Like I kept getting it right. He's like, or at least they told me that I was. He's like, maybe I wasn't, and they were just like lying to me. But he's like, they kept telling me I was doing it right. and then they'd like abuse me and like have me do it again, you know, and it's like, gosh, you know, but there's remote viewing. It seems so common with these programs that was like one of the major things that they used a lot of these children in.
The things, yeah, there's a lot of, I remember, because yeah, it's horrible, horrific. And I just feel so heartbroken for him. And the fact that trying to make sense, because they don't want it to make sense. Like the reason they have flashing lights in a lot of these situations, or like, because I have a memory of being in like this, I call it the cube, but like being in this room and it's just like a box. There's just it's pretty small. I don't know. Oh, this is so hard to bring word. I wish you could see inside my head right now. But it's just like a box, but it's a big box, right? And it's all screens, like TV screens, right? And so they could have like one color on the bottom screen, one color on the top, like different colors or different scenes happening. And I remember like different movies happening all over the place. So total disorientation, right? And I remember like hearing the rain. So they'd have a lot of sounds. It'd be raining or it sound like it's raining and I would feel the rain, but I don't know if it's just because I thought I was in the rain because of all the, so they just do all this stuff to fuck with you and completely disorient you, because disorienting you so your body can't get used to anything. Like they don't want you to know anything, like to make no
Right.
pattern. And part of it for me, I call it soul popping, when they wanted you try to like ramp up so you could be, say I'd be in that chair and then they'd hurt me in various ways or do the sensory overload stuff, and then it forced me to leave my body, which is something they want, right? So you can go and do their little bidding, you know, throughout the
Yes.
world.
Yes.
And something that always comes to my mind is X marks the spot, X marks the spot, X marks the spot, which is a big part of me like showing them where things were, you know,
Yes.
something like that.
There's a
Uh,
survivor named Katie Groves. She has been missing for a while, allegedly. So she's not somebody I've interviewed, but she's put out information from her testimony online. She
okay.
called something similar to what you're saying, dissociative viewing. So she said it was different than remote viewing, where
Yeah.
you weren't like in your body, like, you know, in one state and just sitting there viewing something. You would actually leave your body. From your body, part of you would leave and go view it and then come back.
Yes, that's exactly what I did. And we sometimes had different alters that would leave. And we were naturally good at that. Yeah, we would literally, like, I would literally go there, like,
Yes.
different. Because also, that's a much either easier way that you could go somewhere and then you energetically could feck with someone's something because your energy's there. Yeah,
Yes.
you're not just like, you literally, like, and like you could go through walls and stuff. Like, you're a ghost, but you're not a
Yeah.
ghost. But yeah, I was
Yes.
able to get into like this like army location that looks like Russian soldiers or something like that, and they had a little black box that they were guarding. Don't know what the little black box is. I still don't. They were all, and I was just there, like, not just like, but like, and then you get pulled back. I don't know. It's really hard to explain why. And there's all sorts of, and that's the thing. So remote perturbation where you can like energetically fuck with things. I'm in a different chair in this memory, and they have my hands like it's like a, I want to say it's like a Faraday cage, which is a material. It's really interesting because Faraday cages are there to keep everything out, right? The noise, the energies, all that stuff. And sometimes to torture you, they'll put the energies in a Faraday cage, which there's no um there's no way for the energy to disperse. So it's really horrible feeling to be inside a Faraday cage and then put some sort of energy in there. It's not nice. But it was that kind of material, and it was one of those soul pop things, but I remember them having my hands in some sort of goo. And what I think was happening is like electricity. So I would be fucking with their machines, and they were trying to find ways to stop that by grounding out the energy. Is my what I'm trying to, and they had
Interesting.
something over my hands to keep it in the goo. Like, yeah. So I'm wondering if any of the survivors have that. And I just realized we didn't talk about my Shiva altar. There's just so much we're talking
yeah,
about.
Yeah, of course we can. I know we just get all of this like really does go together, but we can definitely let's talk about Shiva too. But yeah, if survivors do have, corroborating things, or if these experiences were something you went through or something similar, be very curious, especially how Charlotte was saying, programming has evolved. We know some of what, they began these programs with, but it'd be interesting if some, survivors from different generations have different memories that of like an evolution of what we've heard happened, decades and decades ago.
Yeah. Thank you everyone who's here and listening and sharing and existing.
Before we move on to Shiva, was this in Florida or in California where they would have you do the remote viewing stuff?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot, I mean, San Francisco, obviously, Benicia Caves. Yeah, so I'm not sure, but I know both. But San Francisco.
Okay. Just if
San
people are
Francisco
listening,
for
if they were
sure.
in those areas, if they are like, oh my gosh, I went through that too, and I live there, it'd be interesting to connect locations too.
Jacksonville, Gainesville, Florida, big one, and then San Francisco or Benicia area is another question. Areas, yeah. And there's allegedly labs, government labs under Kirkenes Straits near Benicia, in Benicia. Yeah,
Okay.
and there's someone who I meant to find it, but someone tried requesting a FOIA about it. And they said that they were requesting information on the government splicing dolphin and human genes. And my elementary school, Matthew Turner, I was the first class to go through the beginning when it opened up through the full graduation. A dolphin is their mascot.
No way.
Also, the park near my house I grew up, a small park near my house that I grew up with, or in, it was called Gateway Park. Like the Gateway program. Can you
Oh my gosh.
Benicia is so sketch. And the first Freemason of California, the first Freemason lodge, Bonicia. The
Oh my
Benicia
goodness.
Arsenal. Yeah, the Benicia Arsenal. And there's so they did testing on Hudson wire, the big old barrel things at the end of. I'm not doing a Nazi salute. The big old barrels at the end of those tanks. I have memories of being in Benicia Caves where I saw that and I'm like, nothing makes sense to my therapist. And then I was telling her about it. And then I went looking on lines and I found there are places that Benicia actually tested these things in the hills where I remember happening. Like I'm finding all the crossroads. Like I'm finding all these things that crisscross. So like validation of my memories.
Yeah.
And I have these somewhere. I know I'm like, oh, I have all these things and I'm not showing it here, but I have validated to myself that these things I remember are actually there. Like these underground bunkers. Benicia has been a huge military town and like the government like has experimented on so many like chemicals, on bombs, and like there's so much Freemason architecture and I have all these memories of being ritually abused in these places that are there and like there's just so much sketchness.
There is. It'd be great if people had additional information. A lot of, what took place with remote viewing in the sort of inception of MK Ultra or government experimentation was like really solely at SRI in the beginning for maybe even a couple decades. Stanford Research Institute was sort of like where all children were funneled through, but now we're learning that it's expanded. It's really gone. They're doing these types of experiments everywhere.
Menlo Park, right?
Yeah, Menlo Park. Yep.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Shiva. Let's revisit Shiva and
oh
share.
Yeah, just about a lot of altars that were programmed. I'm getting really tired. I might be blown out of steam. I know.
And that's okay if you are.
We're talking about such great things. I'm gonna do my best. Let's just see what happens. Okay, well, I'm just gonna read a couple things. So Shiva altar. So she's not actually Shiva. She's a little girl that was made to believe that she's Shiva. And when I first experienced her, is about 7 years ago, and I remember all of a sudden I felt like I had 4 arms. Well, excuse me, 3 arms. And something had happened in my life where another person I realized was unsafe. And sometimes what happens is I self-harm or cut. I haven't cut in a while, which is real nice. I still struggle with my ED, but the
Yeah.
cutting finally has like, and I've cut multiple places on my body. And like the first time I saw my vagina when I was older, like 13, because all my friends were looking at their vagina. When I actually looked at my vagina, I wanted to cut it and slice it open. And
Oh
that's
my
a
God.
sign potentially that you were sexually abused as a child or abused as a child, is when you see it, like there's either fear or disgust or rage or something like that. But
Oh.
anyways, what happened is I started feeling really floaty, and then I ran to in front of a mirror just because all of a sudden I had 3 arms. There was an extra arm, and I all of a sudden I had a knife in my hand, and then I was just like, it was like doing this, and I wasn't moving the body. I was observing the body being moved, and I knew, because I knew I had dissociative identity disorder, and it was just like so trance-like, and the knife kept being transferred between hands, and it felt like there was a third hand being transferred too. It wasn't. And Shiva has 4 hands, so I'm assuming, or arms, so I'm assuming in one of the torture scenarios, my little girl alter, who thinks she's Shiva, like this powerful god, right, had one of her arms severed. So she was tortured and made to think that. But what was happening is we were cutting. It was like this slow trance and then cutting and going through this, like, yeah, and I was just watching this. I was just sitting back there looking in the mirror, witnessing this, some sort of ritualized self-harm thing. So that's kind of like, it's like that altar, this will happen. A lot of the altars will be in a trance. So like this little altar came forward. I knew she was a girl. I could tell she was a little girl, but she thinks she's Shiva, and just the cutting and that was all in like
Oh.
abuser groups. I don't have the memories of exactly what happened to her because I'm very disconnected, but like that's just like part of my life as a survivor. There's stuff like this. Yeah.
That's so sad to think about, like you as a little child, like doing a choreographed like abuse on yourself, you know?
Yeah. It is really sad. Um, oh, so I'm all talking about how drained I am, but I want to share with you guys some so we were talking about journals, right? And so altars for us, a lot of times we communicate one through TikToks. Like we're not just making TikToks for the general public, it's also to communicate to one another. Because I'll often go back and look and I'm like, oh, Lolita made a TikTok, like, oh, and she's describing this horrific thing where she's being abused, and I'm like, oh, wow, that happened. Like that's one way we communicate. Also in journals. So this ties in with ritual abuse kind of stuff. So I want to just give a trigger warning. There are some things that I'm going to read that might be trigger words for survivors. So just gonna, um, so there are techniques. So this was in 2023, April of 2023. So anniversary is weird, or whatever. And I have a ton of journals just scattered about were different altars, and through the various years, like altars have been writing. Like I remember this one time I was probably 10. I found this journal in my room, and every single page in giant letter, I hate my mom, I hate my mom, like a ton of pages of that. And I found it, and I knew it was my handwriting, and I got so scared, and I ripped it all up. Because I didn't want my mom to see it. Like how horrible. Like, so that's the level of dissociation, like between so many things. And oftentimes when I'm writing, because okay, I'll just read it. So this is I was trying to do recovery work. And you know how sometimes they say like ask a question to your inner child. That's very complex when it comes to DID. It's complex in general for anyone. But DID. And so oftentimes a lot of different alters will come forward and write. And there's a lot of threats that are made. So this is one made in 2023, so it's actually healthier. By healthier, I mean more integrated than the ones I wrote in like 2018 or obviously 2006 and stuff like that. So I wrote a question, what do you want me to know? And then seaweed, Satan, Kalamazoo, Skinnamarink-a-dink, I love you, that Barney song. Hope you're free, you damn bastard. I want your souls. Worms and goo, all the goo in your ears, your head, your face. Give me your soul, little bitch. I see you, my eye, my one eye. Out you go, 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 dancer. Help me know you. Give me a break, Sergeant. Go away, Pelican. And I'm not in drugs here. Like, I am just doing that thing where, like, it's just writing. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck, you know? I see you. Go back to the zoo, little doggy. The man by the door, the green or red exit side under the sea, the deep, deep blue sea, seaweed, tiles, skin grafts, squares of all shapes and sizes and colors, different, more green and more green. Dr. Green? No, painted purple, pink, blue, worms. They came for me at night. Hold on.
Hmm.
All nights, every night, in the dirt, in the dusk, lonely little bird, go die at night while they take you to hell. Hell is heaven, heaven is hell, as you know. I need a home, a house, a love, a lover, a dog, a friend, a fake eye. My dad had a fake eye. A fake eye in your throat, fake eyeballs, always watching in your anus. Your Uranus, oh, Uranus, the planets know, they planned it all. I'm a cucumber, more and more and more green. Flashing lights, and it's like crazy writing. So just so you guys know, it's like, and sometimes, okay, anyways, flashing lights, dainty princess, whore, my whore, oh, go away, frog. Take me out to the ball game. Shut the fuck up. Um, and then I say, what do you need me to know about the room? Why am I seeing it now? And then they are coming for you from the inside out. They have ruined your insides. You are a broken bitch. And then I come in, somehow stop, and I say, Seamus, I'm talking to the altar here, that the last altar. These are different altars that have come forward. Like really, really deep altars, or very hidden altars are writing, and then like a more organic, like first line of altars comes up here at the end. He's the one who says they are coming for you. No, it starts, yeah, you are a broken bitch. He says certain words that I have recognized who it is, and I say, Seamus, it's okay. Hope is safe. Hope is one of our littles that I renamed her. Hope, she used to be Rat's Nest 1. That's the whole thing. And then I said, let me hear beyond you, please. I love you. You are no longer alone. So that's actually a healing part, because we're all lonely inside. So many people. I know some people are like, oh, it must be not have fun to have DoD, but you're never alone. And some people have a good experience where they're like, yay, we're not alone. And I get it. But for us, there's just so much damn loneliness each altar holds. And like, Gabby can't come forward and be like, hey, I'm Gabby, and make connections on the outside, because I know people have found safe spaces where they can do it. I don't feel comfortable with that yet. And I hope to one day. But we're just all so lonely. So it was nice seeing that in real time, when I wrote this, I was able to see Seamus, who one of the reasons. So when Charlotte, first met Seamus, what had happened, this was about 11 years ago. That's when I got clean and sober. And I was doing some inner child work with this woman, not a therapist, a friend at the time. And, we were closing our eyes, and she said, and I didn't know I was a system. I knew about the incest, but a lot of the memories had not been put together. I'd had bits and pieces of ritual abuse and all this stuff, memories, and being like, what the fuck? I'm crazy. But I didn't know I was a system. And she's like, okay, picture you as a young child. And I started doing that. And then all of a sudden, and there was some sort of attempt to connect, right? Which is not a normal, like, this is a common therapy technique, right? Picture little you, and then what would you say to her, whatever. And like, she's And so as I was trying to connect with her, all of a sudden I heard in my mind, whore, slut, dumb, dirty bitch, fucking bitch about her. And I felt this just rage and hatred towards this little precious me. And then I, popped out of it, and the woman was like, "Wasn't that a beautiful exercise?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was so great and healing," but not what actually happened. I'm never not going to tell anyone that happened because I didn't know. I don't know. You're not supposed to talk about anything, period.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize, I thought that was me, just like, I just did not understand it. But turns out that was an alter Seamus. And he's one of the first lines. And yes, I gave him the name Seamus. His name, I don't know what his name, Brian, probably. I don't know what his real name is. But he he reminds me of my brother a lot. And his in a way, my brother, in sometimes some cases, thought he was keeping me safe by being cruel to me. Like sometimes when I laugh too loud, he'll say things like that. Shut up, bitch. You're keeping us unsafe. Like stuff like that. And it's because so Seamus was trying to keep me from who I later found out was my alter, Rat's Nest One, who I call her Hope now. And she's safe now inside. But Seamus used to think that's how I'm going to protect her, which is also a way to like keep the memories from coming together and talking. So
Mm.
this shaming voice that's a full-on alter, and some of his experiences in life is sometimes, so my dad would take us and whip us with a belt, like have us come to the room, take off our shirt and whip us on the back with a belt. Shame is kind of formed under that setting. So an organic versus programmed alter, they weren't intentionally trying to create Seamus, but he came forward because as we were being whipped on the back, um, like a man can take it, right? Man's strong and blah. So like that's kind of what came, and
Mm.
yeah, so he could take it. And so when he would come forward in therapy years ago, he'd always be like, my back, my back. And I didn't know for the longest time what he was talking about, but it's because he still feels pain on his back from the whip the whipping of it. And he hates women. He's come a long way in his recovery. And he makes so much sense considering everything that he's been through. But he'll still get triggered because if I get too close to things, a lot of pain is going to happen. So, yeah, so I guess I don't know. I wanted to share that with you guys because ritual abuse and like, yeah,
Well, and it's really amazing to see how writing can really be so healing, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense whenever you read it, to try to
yeah,
like decode it, but how you would have probably not said those words to somebody, but you were able to write them and communicate through your hands. And I think that's such a powerful tool for survivors to take with them from this is the power of writing. If they're not doing it already, it really is just an amazing way to not just communicate and like, vent and get stuff out. Writing's just great for that, but to help inside, to help your system collaborate with communication too.
exactly. And it's hard to write though. It's okay if you struggle out there with writing. We rarely do it, but when we do, it's nice.
Yeah. It's very,
Well,
very,
I don't know if nice is the right word, but yeah, it can be very healing. It can also be very triggering. So definitely work on taking breaks if you can, and find something you enjoy too. If you're able to connect with anything you enjoy, like, I don't know, petting a pet or holding a stuffed animal or going for a walk, or watching a movie. If you're able to have access or talking, if you have a person that you feel safe enough with, talking with them. So have a good, best you can, a safety plan. Um, this is another healing thing I want to read too. So I was doing some sort of, I forget what it was. I was with a friend. This was like a year ago. And we did some sort of exercise, like, I did the one I just read. So I put, how are my babies? And I'm fully aware I'm a system here. And I was checking inside. And then what came, and it's hard to see, but like there is different handwriting. I have better examples of it, but I go, how are my babies? And it goes, go away. I kill you. I won't go home. And then I put, I love you. It's okay to exist now. I'm here with you. You no longer have to face this alone. It was never meant for you. Because children should not be going through this or just shouldn't have to carry any of this. And then another altar comes forward and writes, remember me. I'm the one, oh, it's hard to read. Some for you. And I put, oh, the one coming for you, I think. And then I wrote, you don't have to do that job anymore. It's okay to stop and have fun, to be a child. It's their shame, not yours. It was never your fault. You are the good one, always good. I love you. So whether or not that altar was able to absorb any of that, it was at least able to be said. So that's huge to have that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel dumb now.
Why? You shouldn't. It's so important that we share this, and so many survivors, credit writing with being a big part of their, not just like self-therapy, but being able to help with system work, which is really difficult to do whenever you're first remembering, like, what do? I have all these, all this tension inside, and, nobody's agreeing, and some people don't want to talk or speak. So like, what do I do? And writing consistently comes up, and I don't think it's always the first thing that we think to do, because we're like so computer oriented now, and it's like
something
in school and stuff.
Writing.
It's like once you get out of school, you kind of just like stop writing. I don't know many people that just like journal for fun after they grow up, but it's like that can be just something that it's really easy. It's cheap.
I don't know people who do it for No, it is.
But really we should probably all be doing that, though, because there's so many, we've discovered how healing it is to like use your hands to do stuff. You've shown your art too, not just writing, but like your collages and stuff.
Oh yeah, those are so helpful.
It's amazing.
More helpful than writing for me. Because you got to find what helps. Because also some survivors have been tortured around writing, because abusers are like, wait a minute, this is something that can have you heal. So they could be tortured around that too. And so this might actually be it could be it can be not effective or helpful. It's often helpful, but it can also not be. So there are other avenues, because some people just do different, just scratch pages of, paper, like to start out there. And there's various ways you can start to integrate and get some of the energy out, so you can do things like writing eventually, if that's something you ever want to do. That doesn't have to be a thing, but collages for us is a huge part of our healing and how we communicate. It's very helpful. We usually cut out words and imagery, but like words, and put them, it's really helpful.
And you've showed a few of those on previous episodes, so people can go back and look too.
Yeah, I'm too tired to. We're really getting shut down over here.
Do you want to start closing up?
Yeah, I need to close up.
There's a lot of stuff. I know we can do like a million more episodes. So we did
thank you today. Thank you.
Well, let's just share. Let's share about your TikTok, because that's like the best place online that people can find you. And it's also, a place that you've been able to find your voice. So let's share your TikTok. And if you want to share anything about it before we close up, go ahead. I'll bring it up on screen.
Okay. One thing I want to say is I'm really bad at getting back to people. So I apologize for people who've reached out to us. We eventually want to get back to you. So I love you, and we're not ignoring you. So yeah, this is
overwhelming. It's so great people reach out, but it's really, I have trouble keeping up with messages too, and I feel so bad, but I'm like, I just can't always like do it all.
I know, I wish I could, clones, but I wish I could, pause time so I could. But yeah, this TikTok I had another trauma account, started it I think in 2022. And that one got banned, which was really weird because I had no other strikes on it. And the video I made was about Epstein, Clinton, and Trump. And for some reason, my video got flagged, but so many people have made videos on it, and some get millions of views, and it's completely fine. And I didn't give misinformation or something, like it didn't make sense, and it got permanent, like it was just really weird how it fucking happened. It seemed like one of those things that it's like, oh, I'm definitely telling the truth. Like the fact, I know that I'm online stalked, like there's a lot of cause and effect and stuff. Like it's one of the easiest ways abusers follow their survivors, you know, or their victims. So, but anyways, I eventually made this one, and it started with that video where you see tiny me and my dad in that pin video. That has the 5.3 million views. I will tell you, that video, like I have a different account that I still have that I started forever ago. This was the first video of mine that ever went viral, and it is the most worthy video of mine to go viral because I give a voice to that little me there. And the amount of people that have commented on it that are so validating of it and just kind, and then also so many people sharing it happened to them too. It has been so, like, it helped heal a part of me. And there are a bunch of assholes online too. I want to be clear, like a ton of assholes. Yes. Like you get them all the time, Emma, and like a lot of people. And there's creeps who are like, yeah, I want to rape you, you know, like really, like they literally, as you was a little, you're so cute, like no wonder he did that, you know, like disgusting shit. But yeah, I feel very empowered by that. In that, look at that little me. I got to just give a big fuck you to my creep ass dad.
Look how many people witnessed her.
I know. Good job, baby Charlotte.
She was all alone. Nobody saw her growing up, and now millions of people are seeing her. That makes me cry.
And people, I know, and people have even commented just like, it was so obvious. And I'm like, it really was. Like, I mean, it wasn't. There's like the experimentation wasn't, but like there's a lot of, it's just wild.
So many signs of abuse that just get overlooked and made excused for. And then because the parent always looks good in these photos, people don't, like your dad's smiling in all these photos where you look horrified. And so it's like, it looks like it's just like a weird moment for the kid. Everybody's actually happy, you know, and it gets totally overlooked, which is really sad.
It is. And I was just the overdramatic child, right? And like cried all the time and all this stuff. But in classrooms, I was such a good girl. Like I was a teacher's favorite, you know, so compliant. A teacher did notice I was like, because I fainted in class too. So there's also that. But, and they went to my mom, they're like, because I'm also ADHD, but I think my autistic traits were really like obvious or whatever. And a teacher wanted my mom to test me, like get tested for things. And my mom was like, yeah, we'll get her help. And of course, like that's the abuser's den. Like, you're not going to get help from people who neglect and abuse you. So anyways, yeah, so on that page, I focus on my journey and healing and connecting. So yeah, if you want to
type in Shar Redemption or Shar Healing, and I'll have it in the show notes for you to connect with her.
Yeah, so
thank you so much for coming on again today, Charlotte. This was, I mean, as always, you just jammed so much into one episode. Yes. We always have like 1,000 things to talk about, and we don't always get to them, but it's just amazing what we do fit into these episodes. And I really appreciate your vulnerability, you giving hope to people, and you just being able to share these things that aren't talked about enough. And, you know, ultimately for giving that little girl that you once were a voice.
Yeah, little baby. I'm sorry. I'm so like, I mean, this is what it is. Talking about trauma. It's just like,
it is.
It can be very draining. But also like, I'm very sleep deprived. So this is kind of what when I have more sleep, obviously I can go longer. So
we did great. 2 hours. This is a long episode. So I appreciate you coming on, Charlotte. Okay, and for people listening, remember, put out your fuck Bechtel.
Oh, yes. Fuck Bechtel. Fuck the Jesters. Fuck Bechtel. We're coming for your Bechtel. But we are.
We are, yes. Go follow Charlotte on TikTok. I'm going to have her link below. So go follow her, reach out to her. If she doesn't get back to you, don't get mad. And just,
don't feel hurt.
Support. Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's, ups and downs of these journeys, and sometimes the outreach can be a lot. So just give her time, give her patience, and follow her, support her, share her content, and engage with her. And so you guys, the doggy.
Sorry, he He's the one who's on his weight loss journey that wakes me up in the middle of the night now to tease. He's trained me. Okay, sorry.
Oh my gosh, that's so precious.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
And so on that note, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Bless you all, and we will see you next time.